All right, we're live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Pastrami Nation podcast. I'm Kevin, and joining me today is Jason. What's going on, man?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, good. Hopefully, we have another member of our crew joining us shortly. Hopefully, having some technical difficulties, but hopefully, we'll be seeing Christian soon. It's nice for us to get back together. We haven't been together in a couple weeks, so it's nice
Yeah, I
to
feel like I haven't seen you in a
see
while.
everybody and hang out. I know it's been a little bit. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for checking out the show. On today's show, we're going to talk a little bit about Beetlejuice. We're going to talk some Linkin Park stuff. There's been a lot of stuff going on with the band, and they revealed I don't even want to call her a new singer per se, but a temporary singer. Obviously, you can never replace Chester, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. We're also going to talk about our adventures at Rose City Comic Con. Not this weekend, but last weekend. Rose City Comic Con took place up here in Portland, Oregon. Nolan, of course, Jason's brother, and the one of the co-founders of Pastrami Nation was up here as well. So we all got to hang out and go check out the con and everything. It was a really, really good time every year. You can check out all the coverage that we have of that on pastramination.com. Make sure to check that out. Speaking of pastramination.com, make sure to like and subscribe wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening. Really, really helps us out. Share with a friend. Make sure to rate and review the podcast as well. We really, really, really appreciate that. Anything you guys do will certainly help with the show. So yeah, let's just dive right into it, man. We're going to talk about Beetlejuice. Now, I don't know. We're going to give a spoiler-free review for people who haven't seen it. Jason has not seen it yet, so I'm not going to spoil anything for him or anyone watching or listening. So Beetlejuice, of course, for those of you somehow living under a rock and have no idea what Beetlejuice is, it is a sequel to the 1980s classic Beetlejuice starring Michael Keaton. That film starred Michael Keaton, Alec Baldwin, Gina Davis, and Winona Ryder, as well as Catherine O'Hara and Jeffrey Jones. It's directed by Tim Burton. It's a sentimental classic from the 80s. It's probably, top 5 80s movies for me, like easy, like just one of my it was one of those movies that really kind of get you into horror when you're so young and you're so impressionable. It's kind of, what they call like gateway horror, right? Where it's not like particularly scary. It is a family film. Like it is a family horror. That's also back in the 80s. I'm sure you remember this, Jason, when things weren't afraid to be dark and scary, specifically in the family film realm, right? Like you had even something we think back on, you think of something like The Goonies, right? The Goonies is a really fun, when you think about it, sometimes it's just a really fun adventure film. But when you actually watch it, sit down, it's got some dark, twisted subject matter. And this was the stuff that we used to watch growing up, right? As families. Like this was the Amblin stuff. This was all kinds of that stuff.
Yes.
And I miss that. I do like family films now, and some studios are still able to produce that kind of feeling. You have studios like Leica, which did it really well with movies like Coraline and Paranorman and things like that. But you don't really see that as much today.
Everybody's afraid to offend somebody,
Well, yeah, offensive, and people don't want to get, and this is kind of part of a bigger issue, specifically when it comes to things like, Disneyland and things like that. Like a lot of the older dark rides are really scary, really creepy. They have this really ominous feeling about them. But a lot of the newer stuff they're building, for example, isn't as scary. It has no sense of danger or no sense of that you're actually in trouble, right? Like it's all kind of
they don't want to frighten anybody's kids and get sued or anything.
Anybody, right? And I miss that about just movies in general, family movies. Like we're no prudes, and we've been pretty open with, we let our kind of kids kind of watch everything, right? Like we've never really held it back. But it's nice sometimes to be able to watch a movie that's made for families that has that sense of danger, that sense of horror. And that's kind of what Beetlejuice is. Beetlejuice kind of brings back old school Tim Burton. It brings back that 80s sense of danger to a dark, twisted kind of worlds to a family film. Because in the end, Beetlejuice is a PG-13 movie. You can take your kids to go see it if you feel like they're able to handle that kind of material. I think that We got a visitor, everyone. Speaking, I just have to say his name 3 times. Let's see. Christian.
Hey,
Oh my gosh. There you go. He's
There he
here.
is.
finally.
What's going on, man?
God dang.
No,
Hey, we got
Okay.
Arturo joining us from the comments room. What's up, Arturo?
What
I'm not
is
seeing the
up?
comments.
How you doing, Christian?
I'm doing good. Okay, so I couldn't log in with Chrome for whatever reason, so I'm using Edge. Boom, boom, boom.
Mhm.
2024. But for some reason, I feel like my camera quality looks way better. I might just stick with this. How are you guys?
Doing great, man. It's nice to see you.
Yeah, it's good to be here. What am I interrupting? What are you guys talking about?
Dude, I was talking about Beetlejuice. Spoiler free, keeping it light for everybody. Have you seen it?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So
What'd you think? Did you both of you guys saw it?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Christian has not seen it yet. Where's your hat, Christian?
I'll get one. There will be a hat upon this dome by the end of at some point. It's not in the room right now. I'm gonna grab one.
But with that hair, though, you don't need a hat. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
honest. Like, I could never pull that hair off. So
Hey, there you go.
That's for
you go.
Jason right there.
Sweet.
there you go.
There you go.
But no, I was just about to kind of hop into what I thought about it. So, So anyways, like Beetlejuice is a kind of return to form of that kind of horror family comedy kind of thing from like the 80s that we're all kind of used to. It's Tim Burton doing what Tim Burton does best. He's using his weird, obscure, just his filmmaking style is very unique. His personality is 100% in this film, right? Everyone knows Tim Burton by now, and Tim Burton's one of those directors is like, if you like him or if you hate him, right? Like kind of what you're going to get when you go see a Tim Burton movie like this, and he gives you exactly what you think it's going to be. So either you like it, you love it, or you hate it. That's just the way it goes. So there's a lot of things that I really, really appreciated about it. And that's one of them. I think that Tim Burton kind of just going full Tim Burton again was incredible. Great, fantastic. That made me so happy. It feels like a movie from the 80s. Like it feels like it was made right after the first Beetlejuice and pulled, into our modern day.
Awesome.
That's another thing I appreciated with it. I do think there's a lot of really, really good stuff. Where it completely derailed and completely lost me was the story itself. There's like 4 different movies going on at once. There's one storyline that is just completely disposable. Like if you literally just planked it out of the movie, edited it out of the movie, you wouldn't even notice like it was there in the first place. And just real quick, back to the goods. You got Michael Keaton returning as Beetlejuice, just classic. Like he still has it. Like he's still incredible. He's still amazing. Winona Ryder as Lydia, absolutely perfect. Like she still has it. Jenna Ortega as Lydia's daughter, fantastic. Like Jenna Ortega is like the it girl for these kind of creepy, spooky kind of movies. All right, so
Scream and Wednesday.
Yeah. But she does it so well. She does it well, and I think she does really, really good here. The cast, no problem. Willem Dafoe just completely takes it up to 11. And he's just like an incredible Monica Bellucci. I absolutely adore Monica Bellucci, but she's unfortunately part of the storyline that could have been cut out of the movie completely. Yeah. It was one of those movies where I walked out of it, and the first thing I turned to my wife, I swear to God, first thing I said, I turned to her right after the credits started rolling and said, "We waited 30 years for that." This was what they all decided was a good enough story to come back to.
This project has been in the making for like the last 30 years because I remember like all of these stories of like Beetlejuice goes to Hawaii.
That's the one I was waiting for.
Right.
That story still intrigues me till this day, and I feel like that story could have been told, and I would have been really happy with it. This feels like kind of all the scripts throughout the years kind of just cut and pasted together to create one kind of quote unquote cohesive story. Mm-hmm. One thing, another good. So the goods definitely outweigh the bads, right? So I had fun with it. if I'm rating it out of 5, I'm giving it a 3.5, right? Or 3.5, which isn't bad. It's kind of mid-tier. One thing I did also love about it was it wasn't a rehash of what we've seen before. A lot of these legacy sequels you get into, and they kind of play the same movies over and over again, same plots, kind of beat by beat. This one actually does do something to take the characters forward and creates a completely different new path for the franchise. So it's not like you're going to watch it and be like, oh, I've seen that before. This is familiar. I remember this from the original. I remember this. It's a completely different vibe, completely different kind of story, which I think is good. But again, it's just the story itself just didn't hold a lot of weight for me. Even though I had fun with it, still I had a lot of, I kind of walked out of it feeling like, like that was pretty good. Like that was okay. And I still feel like that now. So I don't know. I think it's fine. I think a lot of people are going to find a lot to enjoy about it. This is the perfect time of year to watch it. Obviously, it's gonna be fall. The weather's cooling down, at least up here, at least. And it's been, dude, it's been so
a little
nice.
chilly this morning.
Thank you. I know. I love it. Finally,
so nice. It's so nice. But yeah, it's also one of those movies where I'm like, hey, like if you like the first Beetlejuice, go check it out. Like I wouldn't say don't go watch it. If you enjoyed the first one and you're willing to just kind of turn off your brain for 2 hours, totally go check it out. So overall, kind of mid-tier, middle of the road kind of stuff.
Still worth the theater watch though, right?
I think so, yeah. I think it's definitely worth checking out in the theater. The nostalgia will get you for a while, but then it kind of wears off pretty quickly. Once you like kind of get into the story more and you realize the story just isn't great, you're like, okay, like it's cool seeing Michael Keaton back and all these people back. It's amazing. But overall, and I just love the way the film looks. Like it looks beautiful. It's got that. There's a lot of practical effects in it. You can totally tell that there is a lot of CGI, which is, bound to happen, but it's Tim Burton practical inserted into a CGI world sometimes, if that makes sense. So it feels kind of off-putting, but again, it's Tim Burton, so you just go with it. It just kind of makes sense for the world. So yeah, definitely recommend checking it out if you haven't yet. You guys haven't seen Beetlejuice, but have you guys watched anything over the past couple of weeks that kind of has caught your guys' interest?
Unfortunately, I caught up on the Rings of Power, the new season, and a little boring, a little lengthy, a little boring.
Oh, I was really hoping that it was gonna be good because the first season was. Oh wait, that was also incredibly boring. I have no hope for this season.
You're in for a surprise if you like long episodes.
A brave man.
Yeah, and that's only 5 episodes so far. I'm like, do I even want to watch the because a new one comes out like every Thursday or something like that? I'm like, I can wait.
Amazon to me is so hit and miss because they're doing like a lot of like Vox Machina. There's like The Boys, obviously, but then like this dude, like Rings of Power, big swing and a miss, man. Wheel of what is it?
Wheel of Time.
Wheel of Time. Blah, blah, that show sucks. Sorry, and I think that also kind of just highlights all of the real actual downfalls of maybe the book wasn't as great as everybody thought it was. Anyway, not to poo-poo on that, but
they're giving us the novel version on this season.
Yeah. It's also it really showcases there's a lot of things that work like literal like in book form it works, and then it doesn't work visually. Like, who is this mystery character that they've been speaking of for the last 3 chapters that I can now visually just see. You know what I mean? Like Game of Thrones.
Yeah, they drag anyway because eventually Sauron gets the ring, and the slow process working up to that is like I have a better time watching paint dry.
I think it's just interesting what they think. I think it's very similar to what happened with Borderlands. Like it's Hollywood misunderstanding like what does well, like why these epic series does well, why taking a video game and making an adaptation works well. Again, just misunderstanding it and then just throwing all the money at it. It's the exact same thing.
God.
Yeah, no, they were good. And they're talking about making more movies, right? Like the Golem movies.
There's the anime one coming out.
The anime one looks really cool, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm in for that.
But
that's a one shot.
Yeah, they're doing a Hunt for Golem movie, supposedly going to be directed by Peter Jackson as well. And Ian McKellen has come out and said that no one else is touching Gandalf, and only he can play Gandalf. So I don't know.
Did he see that there's another Gandalf in the show?
Yeah,
is that Gandalf?
Because I'm pretty sure that's gonna be Gandalf, the stranger.
Yeah.
Probably. Hey, it might be Ian McKellen. He could just poof.
Oh, here's the thing. In like the 90s or 2000s, whenever Lord of the Rings came out, I think so many people were like, finally, this is the movie that's going to like just open the floodgates. We're going to get a whole bunch of like fantasy, a bunch of like sword and shield fantasy again. And it never happened. There was all of these attempts at these like kinds of movies, and none of them like met the standard that Lord of the Rings set. So even now that we're just trying to, well, shit, let's just get more Lord of the Rings. They still can't do it. Now we're just like kind of destroying this whole thing. I don't know, man.
It's I feel like because they're signed on for 3 seasons. They signed that before even making an episode. So I feel like Amazon just thought, oh, it's Lord of the Rings. It's going to do well. And now I feel like they're slowing the process just to fit all those seasons in. Like, oh, we can do a 25-minute segment of 2 old wizard guys talking. Like, oh, yeah, everybody wants to see that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Have you been keeping up with House of the Dragon season 2?
Yes.
Okay, so I have not. That I love. Like I loved season 1. I did not see season 2 yet.
Oh my God, I'm not going to blow anything for you, but yeah.
See, okay, there you go.
You know what's a good show too is Those About to Die, and one of the main characters is Ramsay Bolton from Game of Thrones.
Love that
guy.
Know,
and it's basically Game of Thrones set in Roman gladiator times.
Oh, cool. Yes, I do know what you're talking about.
Peacock, right?
Yeah, Peacock.
Yeah, I've heard about that. There's also me and Eli started watching Terminator Zero.
That's an anime, right?
Yeah, we watched the first episode, but the first episode so far, it blew my mind a little bit how they were able to integrate the story of the Terminator, but kind of on a different side of the world. Like, you get basically what kind of was going on in Japan during that time. So,
good. I was going to check that out too.
Yeah, we watched the first episode. Really good. I also watched a couple movies this past weekend. We did Bodies, which is on Netflix. Highly, highly, highly recommend watching it. Specifically, check it out on Netflix before it leaves. This movie is just it's funny, it's smart, it's bloody, it's kind of like, and I've said it in my short review, I feel like it's kind of this generation's version of Scream. Like it kind of has that vibe and that feeling to it. Like this is kind of going to be that movie that people are going to gravitate to, and very much about Gen Z and Gen Z characters and stuff like that. So it's freaking I don't want to spoil. I don't even want to talk about it because I don't want to spoil any of it for y'all if y'all haven't seen it. Highly, highly recommend checking it out. It's only like an hour and a half too. It's like 93 minutes. Like
not bad.
It flies by. It's super funny, super kind of tense, has some really, really great moments in it. So definitely check that out. I also got the chance to watch Civil War, which is now streaming on Max.
I need to see that so bad.
What did you think?
Wow.
And I love Alex Garland, right?
Alex Garland, man. Yeah. This movie. So it's hard to describe what it's like watching. We get a lot of war movies, right? We get a lot of movies about war in other countries and things like that, but we've never gotten a movie like this where there's a civil war in America, and like some of the imagery of this movie will haunt you forever. Like you don't realize kind of how good, and I know it's gonna sound corny as hell, but like you don't realize how good we've got it until you watch this movie, and then you hear about all the other stuff happening in other countries. It puts into perspective what's going on in other countries in your own backyard. So it makes it feel more real and more tangible in a weird way.
In other countries like Ohio, right?
Yeah, I mean, but that's what I mean. Like you get a good sense of what it's like when you're able to see something through your lens. It makes a little bit more sense what's going on in the bigger picture in the world, and that's what this movie did for me. There's some really, really great. So the movie is, obviously no spoilers, but there's this group of press are basically trying to get from point A to point B during the Civil War. In the near future, society collapses, Civil War erupts. One thing I did really appreciate about the movie was that it doesn't really tell you why, right? Like there's not really like a big,
it's like irrelevant.
Yeah, it's very political too. It doesn't point fingers. It's not.
It's about the division, but not the source of the division. Yeah,
exactly. And so you just kind of get a view of America if it did erupt into civil war, but it's done very realistically and really not like over the top, like you'd imagine some of these things could be done. It seemed very much like that's going to happen. Like this is a totally logical. Like this is something that can and might happen in the near future.
I love the cast. First of all, I love
Kaylee is incredible. Kirsten Dunst, of course.
Yes. But also if anybody watched Narcos, that's Pablo, man. Like, and he's so good. But there's that striking scene, and it's also Kirsten Dunst's husband,
Jesse Plemons.
Yeah, the Matt Damon.
Yeah.
I used to call him Fat Damon. But he is amazing. Everything he's in, he's so good. But there's that shot in the trailer where he's like, "We're American." He's like, "Yeah, well, what kind of American?" Like, oh my god,
that scene, just kind of so. It's a very tense scene, very quiet scene when you have all this stuff happening, right? And like that scene isn't very long either. Not to spoil it, but it's very impactful for what it is. And so we're watching it. It's really intense, really quiet. There's a lot of stuff kind of going on, but you're kind of seeing it visually. There's not a lot of sound. There's no music playing. It's just very kind of visceral. And I just got to tell the story real quick. You'll understand when you watch the movie. So we're watching it, and my daughter's in her room cleaning her room. And so she has her music playing, and the sound on that scene, like I said, is pretty much none. And there's this one scene where something's about to happen. It's super quiet. And all you hear is My Chemical Romance. I'm not okay coming out of Ellie's room. That's the scene. And like me, Cassie, and Eli all kind of look and start laughing because it fit like the scene to but that scene's super intense. I think there's the movie does this thing too where it's the main characters are, the two of them are photographers, right? So it really is about photojournalism, and I said it in my short review, but like, when they say like a picture's worth 1,000 words, like this movie uses that to an extreme, to its advantage. I think like it does this thing with pictures and photography that I think is just absolutely stunning, absolutely beautiful. And it really hits hard. It really hits close to home. And I highly, highly recommend Civil War. I don't care. Again, I don't care. Well, like, it may seem like a political thing. You're not going to watch it because of this or whatever. Just watch it. It never gets political. It's always just about what's happening on the ground and the people, which I think is a really, really good take. And I felt like it would take someone like Alex Garland, someone and from England, who can make this movie about Americans bursting into civil war without making it political or anything like that, right?
I noticed that a lot. So many of the great like social commentaries of like American culture comes from non-Americans. It takes that outsider look. Like things like Judge Dredd, right? That like that like real kind of almost like sarcastic,
And it's got to be, because if it's not, it's just biased, right? Like it's very, we all have our biases, no matter what we believe or not. And I do think if you really break down the movie, there is some stuff in there you could be like, he's definitely saying this, right? Mm-hmm. But he doesn't throw it in your face or whatever. And I think that's art should be biased, right? I think like it should be, like, just to an extent, right? Everyone has and that's your personality. That's who you are.
I think with politics also, not to get political, but like I think there is that necessity of like that reminder of what things look like from outside the box, because I think we're so into it, like we're so deep, and it's important for us to like get away and then be like, oh wait a minute, like take a step back and look at the big picture. And sometimes that's the best way to do it, is just to get that perspective from somebody else.
Absolutely. Arturo said, I saw Civil War. It was good. And one thing I will say there, so Nick Offerman has a small part in this film. It's not a spoiler because it opens up to him. He's the president of the United States in the movie. Nice. And I do really think that casting him in that role was a very specific choice. I do think it was because he has this very like manly air about him, right? Like when he's like, all of his books are about woodworking and doing all these things, like these manly things, but like his politics are very liberal. Like he's a very liberal person. And I think they did that on purpose to kind of eliminate, where like these manly men are only one side or whatever, you know what I mean? And I think that really kind of throws people off a little bit with someone like Nick Offerman, who's this manly man. And a lot of the people, think that, that's either one side, you know what I'm trying to get at, right? And like casting someone like Nick Offerman, who kind of does that balance perfectly between the two, is very, very smart choice, very smart move. Yeah, just in what our country can become. Yeah, no, it's one of those movies where I would love to talk spoilers with you guys once you guys see it, because there's a lot of stuff in it that really, really works and really, really tugs at your heartstrings and does some really, really cool stuff. So highly, highly recommend it. Again, some of the most disturbing imagery I've seen in movies all year, and I've seen Longlegs and a bunch of other movies. So that's saying.
No, I really got to watch it.
Yeah, definitely check it out. It's on Max right now. Definitely go check that out.
Speaking of Max, I saw a movie. It was with Robert Pattinson. I saw that like a couple days ago. It's called Good Time. Have you guys seen that?
Oh, I've been wanting to see that.
Dude,
Good Time's good.
Such a good movie.
Yeah, crazy. I highly recommend Good Time. Good Time is, one of the most crazy, bizarre, just wild movies you'll see in a long time.
Yep.
So not to completely derail everything, but did you guys hear the news about Big as the What? Who's somebody's playing at the Super Bowl next year in 2020.
Yes, Kendrick.
Kendrick Lamar. Our boy Kendrick Lamar, who's been having the greatest year ever.
Have you seen the playlist for that they showed?
Is that real?
They ain't us, or they're not like us.
That's so funny.
Tracks in a row.
Of course, that didn't come without controversy, because not everybody's happy about this news. A lot of people are upset because they're saying that Lil Wayne should have been an easy pick for Lil Wayne.
It is his home, right? Like his home turf.
Here's the thing, though. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Lil Wayne perform live. He's not the greatest live performer. Second of all, I don't know the
rapper either.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, a lot of people put him on their like top 3. That's fair, whatever. But when was the last time he had a hit? Like all of his songs are about like drugs, women, and partying. You know what I mean? And like that's kind of like an old time of hip hop.
And he doesn't rhyme either. That's my biggest thing, is he doesn't rhyme. Say hell yeah like 10 times in a row is not rap.
What is he gonna do? Is he like Lollipop? Like what is he gonna play? A Millie, right? Like, which is dope. It's still a dope song, but like clearly there's an obvious choice who's going to be playing.
Yeah, it's a good choice. Like who? Yeah. One of the biggest name this year, I think, so far. So
who also is a really good performer. We just saw it. If you didn't see like the pop out event, like you just watch it. It's cool.
He's great.
You know who's not going to be playing at the Super Bowl? The Denver Broncos. Probably the Raiders.
Yeah, probably not. But speaking of music, we got to talk a little bit about some Linkin Park. So we had, was it last week or the week before they did a live stream performance?
The week before, I think.
Was it week before? Yeah, I watched the whole thing because I thought I was very curious what was going to happen. Nobody knew exactly. There are obviously been rumors. They're talking about they're going to announce their new lead singer. And they did during that live stream. They chose Emily Armstrong, who's a vocalist from I forgot the name of
Dead Sarah,
which I honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I knew nothing about, but since I've been kind of digging back into music, but just by watching the live stream, obviously, listen. No one can replace Chester. It's a completely different game now. It's Linkin Park, but it's Linkin Park with an asterisk now, right? Like it's never going to be Linkin Park. But I think I dig it. I think she's great. I think her vocals are great. I love her raspy kind of yell, and I think she nailed so many of the songs. My two biggest tests for her while watching the live stream, I was, judging her while I was watching it. It's like two songs. If you can nail Crawling and Bleed It Out, for me were the two songs that I was like, if you can nail those, like, you can have the gig. I will allow it. And she did incredible. And then they also released their first single from their new album, The Emptiness Machine. And I think she freaking killed it. I think she's incredible. I do know there's been a lot of drama between Chester's son and Mike Shinoda right now, which I completely understand. I completely get. It's such a, I can't even fathom what kind of stuff he went through. But at the same time, like, it's kind of like they're a band and they got to move on and kind of live their lives and do their thing. And I still think the legacy of Chester will live on just in what they've created so far. And nothing's ever going to live up to that, I don't think. But yeah, what do you guys think about her? Like I said, I'm a fan. I'm very curious to see where they go from here. I think that they have some great potential to do some really, really great music. What do you guys think?
Oh yeah, I'm 100% on board. Like, I can't wait to hear some more songs.
Mm-hmm.
She's obviously not going to be Chester, but like, from what I heard, I'm like, wow, this is good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chester Bennington's voice is. You put him on, he's on a list, right? There's like a list of people that it's him, it's Chris Cornell, it's Freddie Mercury. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a one of a kind voice that's just not you can't replicate this. So anybody they got, even if it was another like top tier screamer, it's not Chester. So they knew whoever they were going to get, there's going to be backlash. I was familiar with Dead Sarah. It's funny. I actually paid money for I have their first album.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah. I remember because it was like in a time where that kind of music wasn't popular anymore.
Right.
And it was just kind of cool to hear like scream metal again. And I was like,
I like what I've heard of it so far.
Yeah. So as soon as they announced that, I'm like, oh my God, that's kind of works. I don't love it. I'm being honest. I don't love it. I just have to get used to it, I think. Yeah. I think it out of context, if this was the first time I ever heard those songs, I think I would dig it. I'd be like, oh, this is cool. Had I never heard Linkin Park before or never heard Chester's voice. So I hope the best for them because, it doesn't really, all that matters is what they want to do. They're the band. That's them. I don't know. It is a weird feeling. It's the same thing with Sublime. Recently, like they've kind of started coming out. Yeah. Bradley's son is now like the front person for this. I've heard a lot of people like, "Oh, that's so perfect. That's so perfect." I still think it's weird. Like it feels like this
like a
kid
tribute album or something.
It is, but it's a kid that didn't grow up with him. So it was also like you were like this. It's like all of Bradley's friends have been like training him his whole life to be like him. Like your dad would. I don't know. It's just how it feels. I've seen interviews with him and he talks about like the immense pressure of being on stage and having to live up to his father and everything. And that's like, yeah, that feels weird. And like he's up there with his shirt off too. And it's like,
yeah. I mean, I thought Rome was doing a pretty good job.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I don't know. Whatever. I guess people were like talking about that, like, oh, it's so perfect because it's his son and it's his blood. But I'm like, does that make it better? I don't know.
No, one thing I do like about Emily, and one thing that really caught me while I was watching the performance was, Jason, because you had said like the Sublime thing feels very much like a tribute band, right, to Jacob. But while I was watching the Linkin Park thing, I didn't like get that. Like it didn't feel like I was watching a karaoke or like a tribute. You know what I mean? Like it felt to me.
It felt like a band. It felt like them.
It felt like a band, which is one of the things that really grabbed me. But I totally get what you're saying, Christian. It is weird. Like it's not, hearing Crawling or any of those songs, in the end, whatever it is, it's not.
With Linkin Park, it does feel like they're genuinely trying to move forward, right? Yeah. As a band. With Sublime, like you said, Jason, it feels like, hey guys, remember this cool song? Remember 94 when you liked this? Right. This is his son now with his shirt off too.
There.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
Christian, I'm sure you saw this. Deftones are going on tour next year. They are doing a.
Hold on. Wait. What? I did not see.
No, so they're going on tour. Their first stop is up here in Portland, Oregon, which I just found out that he lives in freaking Bend, Oregon. I had no idea, and which is crazy to me. I don't know why, but they're playing on February 25th. They're starting their tour in Portland. The 27th, they're doing in Seattle, which I'm probably going to do both just because I could. It's because I want to. I think it'd be fun. It'd be a fun.
Do you know who they're playing with?
Mars Volta.
Oh, damn. Okay. I will say this because I so rarely talk about the Mars Volta. The Mars Volta, their first album, I don't even know what it is. It's in Latin, I forget what it is. Top 5 album all time for me. That's perfect from beginning to end.
What's the Bedlam and Goliath? I can't remember which album that is of theirs. I really like. I think it's called the Bedlam and Goliath or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. Have you heard the story about their first album?
Of the Mars Volta?
Yeah.
Go ahead. You can.
No, I don't. So I've heard the story and I'm trying to remember it exactly, but there's some weird shit going on with their first album, the one that's in Latin, because they actually found that something about how they found these ancient sound totally made up, but it's real. They basically translated, found this old book or something that had Latin stuff in it, and they basically put it to music, and they essentially created this weird music hybrid from this weird Latin book that they found, which sounds like the Mars Volta, right? Like something they would do.
It sounds like a Rick Rubin thing too. I know Rick produced that album as well too.
Yeah, absolutely.
He does all kinds of crazy stuff like that.
But yeah, dude, that should be a freaking the Bedlam and Goliath. Yeah, that's the 2000. Dude, Francis the Mute I liked a lot too. I think Francis the Mute is honestly the one that I've heard first of theirs, and the first one that really got me into them. I really, really love that one. So
those are just between that Mars Volta album and White Pony. Those are 2 albums in my top 5 of all time.
White Pony, dude, is Ellie's listening to Deftones now, which I'm super excited about, happy about. So she really wants to go.
I mean, there's the thing about the whole new metal era of the late 90s. It's kind of a little cringeworthy when we look back, because there's some things that like some corn stuff that's but it still kind of makes me headbang a little bit. Something on the ima, void, something void. But I cannot, I don't care, maybe just the right side. I can't. There's no Limp Bizkit that's gonna make me oh yeah. I hated them back then. I hate them even more now.
I hated them so much back then, but the more I listen to break stuff now, I'm I kind of get it.
I just don't
get it.
What was with Fred's voice? Move it now, move out. What are you
think about it? Well, that's the thing, though. I think that's why Deftones have actually persisted beyond that, right? Because they
transcended completely.
Yeah, they transcended it completely. Yeah. And I think and there's also I'm the same as you, Korn. I'll listen to Korn still. Follow the Leader is one of my favorite albums.
Yeah.
Except for All in the Family, because that song can go screw itself. It's the one with Fred Durst and him, and they're both throwing insults, and it's just a very even for me, it's very cringy, and I'm dude, even actually that's the one song Korn Jonathan Davis has said that he regrets.
That's so funny.
They were talking about if he regretted any songs, he said that one was the one. But
yeah, I feel the Deftones, they were doing all this crazy stuff, and meanwhile Deftones was just winning Emmys, or not Emmys, winning Grammys. There were a few bands, Incubus still, I think, because they were so melodic.
Yeah,
that stuff I still think holds up really well. There's
Absolutely.
a few of those bands.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think kind of Linkin Park fell into that too at first a little bit, and I still think I think the first 2 Linkin Park albums, specifically Meteora, is that's another one of those albums that I can listen to front and back and absolutely perfection. And after that, they came out with some good stuff, but I'm not going to lie, I wasn't on the train completely after that, right? Like I on and off, some things I liked, some things I didn't. I bought all their albums and I was like listening to them regularly. But yeah, they never really transcended that as much, but they still did things a lot better than the other guys did, right? Than like Korn and Limp Bizkit. And they they had, like you said, they had Chester and they had Mike and they had just a really great pedigree to do some really, really interesting. And they started experimenting a lot more later on, which I really, really appreciated.
It's funny because that was like that era. And I was really, really, especially like Incubus, was like probably my big band that I was into, but Mars Volta kind of was one of the bands that helped me transition out of that whole new metal and then into like the whole like hardcore scene stuff.
Yeah.
But I was at the drive-in. I was like a big at the drive-in fan, which was the band that half of the Mars Volta was in. I don't know if I've told the story. So there's this place down here called Frankensons. If you're from SoCal, you know what Frankensons is. We were walking around. This is like around 2000, 2001. We're walking around, and then at one of the booths, I see John, the drummer from System of a Down. And he owns the booth. He's selling comic books and action figures,
cool,
like old vintage action figures. And I'm there with my two buddies, both of them named Mark. And my friend Mark's like, "That's the drummer from System of a Down." And we're like, "Oh my god!" So we go up to him, and my friend Mark's like, "Hey, are you the drummer from System of a Down?" And he's like, "Yeah, don't tell anybody, dude. I can't have like a bunch of people coming down." And we're like, "Oh my god, dude, we're huge fans." And he's like, "That's awesome, dude." And he's like, "Dude, hey, we're like, do you have any new music?" He's like, "Yeah, actually, if you want to come by, we have a new album coming out. It was Toxicity." He's like, "I'll be playing it." And we're like, "Can we get a copy?" He's like, "Fuck you." He's like, "Come back, you can listen to it." And then so my friend was like, "Hey, I heard you guys are going on tour with At the Drive-In." And then he was like, "What the hell?" He was like, "How did you know about that?" And then he's like, "The internet." And then he was like, yeah, we are actually, but we canceled it because they broke up. And we were like we had no idea. This is how we found out that At the Drive-In broke up was John from System of a Down. And we were like devastated. We were like, "What?"
That's cool though, man. That's a cool story. So again, crazy. Speaking of music, Jane's Addiction.
Oh boy. Shit.
So I think we should start a wager, right? So I think so Oasis is reuniting. I'm very, very curious how long until they have a Jane's Addiction situation, right? Like, because Jane's Addiction just started their tour, their brand new tour, as a new band before they start throwing punches at each other, or Perry just being Perry, unfortunately. Which is
what exactly happened? I heard there was something between him and Dave. Like, what happened?
It was him and Dave Navarro. He punched Dave on stage. He was singing a song. The video's online. You can find it. He's singing, and you can see him like looking back at Dave, like get your shit together or something like that. And Dave's just playing. You see Perry walk over to him and just kind of like give him like a punch and like start yelling at him. And Dave's like sitting there like. Apparently Dave had no idea he still apparently has no idea what it was all about. But then Perry started going after him, like trying to they took like the roadies to like separate them and told them, what's that?
Damn.
Yeah. And so they had to separate them and they canceled the rest of the show. And then they canceled the show. I think this was their first show. This was their first show back. God. And then they canceled the day after, and then the day after that, they announced that the rest of the tour was canceled and that they were going their own separate ways for personal reasons. And then of course we got Oasis coming up, who, obviously I'm sure y'all that's just a powder keg, just waiting to explode. Even though they've kind of done interviews stating that like, look, like we understand we have our issues, but this is the band. This is for the fans.
Why is it that's always where the best music comes from? It's those tumultuous bands that just cannot get along. Fleetwood Mac, Oasis, Pretty Girls Make Graves. I love them. Dude, it's like same thing. It's just like that fury just makes incredible music.
And I'm like, I already told Cassie, I was like, if Oasis does come to the US because they have the UK tour, they announced like I'd love to go, but I'm like I'm scared to buy tickets. Like when I do, who knows if they're
even get the insurance,
right?
Seriously. I heard that Fugees too. They were going on tour, and then like right before their first their first performance.
Lauryn Hill,
she pulled out everybody, but Lauryn has like a history of doing that.
Yeah,
a little unreliable with her stuff, so that sucks.
Eminem taught me everything I need to know about Lauryn Hill.
Yeah, I mean, incredibly talented singer. Like she's
again another one of the greatest albums of all time.
100%. Oh yeah, that album is
Miseducation. I saw Eminem only for 6 songs, and then he stormed off stage. This is back in 1999.
That was a Slim Shady LP.
Yeah, there was almost a riot because somebody threw a full 7-Up bottle at his face, dead on, hit him. It was just like they launched it and just boom. Yeah. And he said, "Whoa, stop the music." He's like, "Who do that?" Some guy's like, "Me." He's like, "Fuck you, Kelly." And then they left, and then everyone was like, "Whoa!" And then a riot.
I seen the video of that, like, because they were throwing shit at him, and he was like, "What the fuck you throwing shit at people for?" And then, "Oh, it's tradition." He goes, "I throw shit at you, I get sued." You know?
Yeah, I remember that. Speaking music, freaking strong rumor that Warped Tour is coming back.
That's where I saw him. Was at Warped Tour '99. I was just about to bring that up. Also, the first time I saw Blink. That's crazy.
Interested in that, so we'll see what happens there. I've always loved.
Oh no!
Oh, shit! Looks like the Warped Tour already happened.
Hey, there's the Batwing. Now we can see it, and the Bugle. Yeah, I did hear that the Warped Tour is rumored to be returning, which is crazy. That was like kind of the big festival in like the early 2000s, late 90s. That was my first festival ever. I was still like 15 or 16 when we went.
Tickets at, what was it, Sam Goody? Because they used to sell
Sam
there,
Goody. We went. It was at San Bernardino at what is the Orange Show Fairgrounds?
Yes, Orange Show.
Yeah, that was the first time I saw the Warped Tour. It was Blink 182, the Vandals. Dude, it was Black Eyed Peas before Fergie was part, when they were just 3 dudes rapping.
Dude, I saw them too back when they were just 3 dudes rapping.
Yeah. Ice-T, that was crazy. Yeah. The Living End. God, I still love The Living End. That was look them up, man. It's an Australian punk band.
Oh, I love The Living End.
Awesome.
I saw them too, actually. I saw them at we had this thing called Endfest up in Seattle back in the day, and it was kind of like Warped Tour, but like for the radio station thing. The Living End was there one year. It was Living End, Power Man 5000, Third Eye Blind, not Rob Zombie, Moby, and some other like just random band, Sum 41.
You guys is it the Sasquatch Festival up there or something like that? Or
it's
I don't think it's around anymore, but it used to be.
No, it's not around anymore. Yeah, it used to be up here in Portland, but
okay, there is one of the greatest videos ever recorded ever. You guys, I highly recommend looking it up. I used to actually show this in my classes. So it's like a crazy study in like sociology and just human behavior. But basically it was, do you guys remember Santa Gold from like 2009? Oh, yeah. So she was up on stage and you see, it's a festival. So they're out in the field and it's daytime. And you just see one guy by himself, like woo, 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 just dancing, going crazy, just like weird. And then like whoever is recording it is just kind of making fun of him. They're like, look at this guy. Just by himself, and then like all of a sudden some other just random person comes up next to him, and then now he's dancing, and then so now it's just 2 random people dancing, and then all of a sudden like people just see this, so like slowly like one by one people start jumping in. By the end of the song, there's easily like at least like 500 to 600 people. Like it's the most fascinating thing that you can watch, and it all happens like naturally and real. Like it's crazy. Definitely look it up. One man starts a dance party. Like look it up on YouTube after watching this. And it happened there in awesome. Portland, where that would make sense.
It's all about Portland, man.
It's funny to see people's reactions to certain songs too, because I remember it was like 98 or 99. I went with some friends from McDonald's. We went to it was the Rocks Club out here on 7th Street. And the nightclub we had, and then when what was it, House of Pain, Jump Around comes on, like there's the dance floor is crowded, and there's like 4 or 5 white guys in the audience, like just jumping up with their hand, like I was like, holy shit.
Everlast was there too. Everlast.
Yep. Everlast, man.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. But But yeah, so just real quick before we wrap up here, I just want to talk about Rose City Comic Con real quick.
Yes,
we had a good time. Nolan was here. We had a lot of fun. It was, Friday was a pretty calm, chill day. Not a lot going on. You had places like Dark Horse. You had a whole bunch of really, really cool Oni Press, Dark Horse. Just a lot of really great comic book companies. Got this cool hat because I had to. Dark Horse hat. Got to meet some really, really cool people this year. They had a bunch of really, really cool kind of celebrities. None of them we really met, but you had people like Charlie Cox, Hayden Christensen, Rosario Dawson was here, Nick Frost, Simon Pegg, Max Brooks, a bunch of voice actors too. From Eli got one of his Attack on Titan mangas signed by the main voice cast of the show. Cool. So I guess there's a main 3 characters in the show. So he got each of the voice cast actresses were there. One of the girls, I forget her name, but she was the sweetest. Like, she was so sweet because she had kind of a small line, but she would it was talking to me and Eli. And then she just kept on talking and she kept on apologizing to us for taking up our time. And I'm like, no, you're fine. She's like, I'm so sorry. I just talking we were talking about, I had my Blink 182 shirt on. We were talking about Blink 182 and she started talking about all these things about when she was growing up and how much she loved Blink 182, all these things. And just really sweet. And I should have I was thinking, I totally forget her name, but she was absolutely wonderful. Bryce is this guy, Bryce Haldenbrook, I think his name is. He's does a voice on Attack on Titan, but he's also this character Cat Noir from there's this TV show called Miraculous Ladybug and Cat Noir, which is a superhero animated show. Ellie absolutely loves it. I've gotten hooked on it because of Ellie. It's really fun. It's a really cute show, but it's based in France. It's all animated in France. It's a French show, but they, I think Disney Plus has the rights to it right now, so they just transfer it over and dub it in English and stuff. But it's really fun. But yeah, Friday was cool. Saturday was super busy. It's sold out. It was just packed. And wasn't, if you have to have your wits about, you have to be able to handle that kind of stuff. If you're go to any Comic Con, right? Saturday is always kind of the biggest crowd. And that's what it was here. It was super busy. Sunday calmed down again. The weather was hot. This is probably the hottest Comic-Con I've ever been to up here. It actually broke record highs. We got up to almost 100 degrees on Friday, and Saturday didn't quite get as high as they were talking about, but it did get pretty high. Sunday cooled down quite a bit. We took the train every day from Beaverton, which is where we live, to Portland. It's about 30-minute train ride. And it was really fun. We had a good time. Met some really, really cool people. Met Sean Murphy. I was very...
he's a dude, a fucking hero of mine. Dude, hero. I love Sean.
I forgot my White Knight books at home because that's what I really love of his. So cool. We were at his booth and Eli was buying one of the White Knight, the Red Hood books. I bought this book, Zorro, Man of the Dead.
Yeah.
He wrote. I haven't read it yet, but he did a cool little...
Nice.
Which is pretty cool. Eli was picking up his book, then he got this print, and then he handed it to me right after. He said, "I got this for you," and I had to have it. It's a Harley. And even the guy at the booth, at the thing, his assistant was like, "That's really cool." I was like, "Yeah."
Nice.
But yeah, we had fun. Eli had his own adult money now, so he was able to. He went ham. He had a blast, man, which he was very proud to do so, though. He had his own money. He was super excited to spend it. And
good for him. That's awesome.
Yeah. And I'd be debating about something. And he's like, he was like, how about this? He's like, I'll buy you that. And you just go buy the other thing. I'm like, dude, I love you to death, but
big spender.
You gotta it's cool and all, but you gotta this is your money, I'm not gonna, I also did get this shirt. I have to show off the shirt because I absolutely love it. So this booth has been at Comic Cons. I was at Emerald City last year. I was at Rose City this year, or last year. It was at Rose City last year, Emerald City this year, and it was again at Rose City Comic Con. it's a horror themed booth, and I was like, I don't know if I want the shirt because they only had made a certain amount of them, and I absolutely love it. It's an Evil Dead shirt. But as soon as I brought it home, my wife and daughter both, because Cassie wasn't with us, she's like, where are you gonna wear that? I was like, no. But I had to have it, and I absolutely adore it. It's one of my favorite, most grotesque shirts that I own.
Yes.
One by one, we will take you.
That's so funny.
And she's like, that's pretty grotesque. But I was like, you know what? I freaking love it. I had to have it. But yeah, they make these really, really cool shirts. I wish I could remember the name of the company or the booth there, but they're really, really cool people. They're always at the Comic Cons up here. So
I have too many of their shirts that I get too excited when I see them, and then I buy them, and then I get home, and it's exactly like, where the hell am I going to wear that? And it's just like my favorite shirt to wear to bed.
That's pretty much probably what
I bought this sweater, and all it says is "I'll see you in hell," like just really big. And I was just like, ha 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 ha. But like, I can't wear that anywhere.
Well, there's this.
I would.
So there's this really old, or old from like the 40s, I think, or I think it's the 50s or 60s. Is these really kind of pulpy horror book that they turned into a movie called Satan is a Lesbian, and they have the shirt of it, and I wanted it so bad, but I'm like, where am I going to wear that? Like, when am I going to wear that? Like, it's such a cool design, it's such a cool shirt, but I was like, I don't know what I'm going to wear. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. But yeah, it was a blast. We had a good time. Like I said, Nolan and Rebecca came, and they had a good time. It was their kind of first con in the Pacific Northwest, and they I think you go read the article on pastramination.com. But one thing I do love about Rose City Comic Con is it's very much a good combination of a more of a corporate Comic Con, but also like very local. Like so many of the artists, so many of the vendors are from Portland that it's like you feel Portland when you go in there. Like it's just a vibe and a thing. And like, but again, you have some of the bigger names. Obviously, Dark Horse is Portland too. Oni is Portland, so it's like all these great bigger companies. So. Yeah, we had a blast. Check out all the pictures and everything on Pastrami Nation on their socials and on pastramination.com. Well, guys, I think that wraps up another awesome episode of the Pastrami Nation podcast. Thank you all for checking out the show. Where can they find you all? And you guys have anything you guys want to plug?
You can't find me anymore. Don't look for me. I'm a ghost.
No, I'm kidding. Christian in like 10 minutes.
No, you can find me, Kevin Hoskinson, Kevin_Hoskinson on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Threads. Threads is a thing. I didn't realize I was on Threads, but I keep on getting notifications.
That's like Threads. Through Instagram, huh?
It is.
Yeah, I saw that because I'm on there apparently too. I'm like, Threads? What the heck? Did I get hacked? Like,
yeah. No, wait, I take it all back. You can find me. I'm gonna stop plugging my normal one, my toy one. You guys can follow my toy one. Nobody follows my toy one. I never get any attention on that. It's Zoinks, Z, and then the number 0. Zoinks, ZOINKS. Dusty Old Toys, and then you can see all of my latest collection stuff.
Dude, I like your paint job on that. Was it the Hydro Stomper?
Thanks, man. That was a lot of fun. That was a late night. That was just like very.
Was that all dry brush or just?
Yeah, it's all. I have it right here. It's just all dry brush. So it's very like 3A inspired. I wanted to do like rust layers and like. I still got a long way to go, but I haven't put like a clear coat on it. It's hard to get.
Yeah, you got to seal it and it's all done, huh?
Yeah, it's fun though. I mean, I hate looking at this thing and it's all clean. I hate like.
It's kind of plain when it's clean, right?
Yeah, it's still cool. Like it has a very like
compared to that. I mean,
yeah, it has a very Ashley Wood like Jeff Darrow kind of design too, like the big round, and then like elongated. I love that like mech design. So I don't know,
like those brambles. Remember the old bramble robots?
Yeah,
Sideshow.
Yeah, exactly. Those are fun. Yeah, thanks.
Hey guys, I'm gonna leave you guys with this Ash Cat.
Hey.
Ash Cat, everybody! Ash Cat, we love Ash Cat. My sister-in-law got me for this for me, so I got to show it off a little bit. It's just Ash Cat. She knows I want Halloween. I know it's perfect. Halloween season's coming up, man. I'm so stoked. I'm so happy. I'm so excited that it's here.
Think about it, but I think I know what I want to do. I just don't know if I have enough time to get my costume together. I'm finally in the right shape where I can be Rufio, and I'm gonna do it like with a midriff and everything. Have my stomach out if I can get it. And then the problem is I put so much time into what I'm gonna wear, and then I don't organize to do anything. So then I'm just like at home by myself, looking all cool.
Absolutely, dude. I've been thinking of a really cool cosplay, and I don't know what I should do because, like, it's same as I'm in the same boat. I'm getting into shape. I'm like feeling good. I'm like, I want to do something like really good. I want to be in a certain shape by the time Comic-Con comes around next year, so I can pull something really cool off. But I don't know what though. I don't know what. I need your guys' help. Hopefully, y'all can help me. You guys and anyone watching or listening, help me out. Help me figure out a cool cosplay I can pull off. Because I think it'd be a lot of fun to do it one year.
That'd be badass. I always wanted to cosplay at a convention. Like I always told myself I was gonna do it, and then like the closest I got to that was I just when I used to work out and I used to be really in shape, like in 2011, 12, like I was at the gym all the time, and I just happened to, we were at Disneyland and I wore my green John Cena shirt and a green John Cena hat and just totally disappointed some kid because he comes running up, John Cena. I turn around and it was me. I was like, sorry, kid. Hate to ruin your dream. But I was like, I need to get back in that shape, you know? Like,
that's awesome.
Like, shit.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. Well, cool, guys. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you all for checking out the show. Remember, like, subscribe, share, do all that cool stuff. And we will see you all next week with a brand new episode of the Pastrami Nation podcast. Goodbye and have a good evening, day, whenever you're listening and watching this. We'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.